Hey everybody, John here from the esports department, going over this afternoon's LCS slate. Um, it's an all right slate. I don't think it's super exciting. It's worth noting that we're getting to the midpoint now of the LCS. The teams that played yesterday have now completed their first round robin, so they've played every team once. The teams that didn't play yesterday are playing their final opponent today, and then we will be at the official half point of the LCS. So the data is starting to get more relevant. We're starting to get a much better feel for these teams. The metagame has been pretty similar as this season has played out so far. So I think the data is staying pretty relevant as far as the metagame not changing too much and warping the stats too much or anything like that. The first matchup of the day is FlyQuest at minus 500. They are 5-4 on the season, playing up against Dignitas, who is plus 320 and 1-8 on the season. Worth noting, FlyQuest took a pretty rough loss to 100 Thieves yesterday, where Dignitas was pretty dominant in their victory. For me, if that takes even 5% of FlyQuest's ownership away and ups Dignitas's ownership any at all, it makes me want to lean more towards FlyQuest. I do think the new Dignitas roster with their academy players is the better version of their roster, but I don't think they have what it takes to beat FlyQuest here, generally speaking. And some of the stats are going to kind of show that too, which is something that I think is kind of important in this specific matchup. Versus winning teams, FlyQuest is 3-2. Versus Dignitas, or Dignitas versus winning teams, they're 0-6. The gold per minute, 1797 to 1651, so big advantage for FlyQuest. Gold differential per minute plus 66 to minus 198. They split first blood and first turret. First blood more likely to go to FlyQuest, first turret more likely to go to Dignitas. Dragon percentage 55 to 41 in advantage of FlyQuest, but this is the number that's most relevant for me that I wanted to talk about. The gold differential at 15. So at 15 minutes, Dignitas is actually better than FlyQuest. They have a minus 382 versus the minus 435 of FlyQuest. But this is extremely telling. The fact that they're better at 15 minutes than FlyQuest, but 1-8 on the season, and the fact that FlyQuest is a positive team on the season as far as record, but is minus at 15 minutes, those are the kind of stats that pop out and tell you an important story. And it's one I've talked about before when we talk about FlyQuest, but FlyQuest is a great mid-game team fighting and skirmishing team. And they're playing against a team here who is clearly very bad at it because they're not that far behind at 15 minutes, but they lose almost every game. So they're telling you, like, past 15 minutes is where their problems are happening. Where FlyQuest is telling you that if they have an average goal differential of plus 66, but they're behind at 15 minutes, they're getting all their leads after 15 minutes. And that's why I think this is just an awful stylistic matchup for Dignitas. So Dignitas is not a team that I'm looking to target at all. Admittedly, some of these stats don't really look at the new version of Dignitas. They're looking at the old version of Dignitas, but I still think it's pretty relevant to the way these teams are probably likely to play this. So Dignitas is a team I'm not really looking to target at all. FlyQuest, if I think they're going to lose some ownership to the fact that they lost a pretty rough game yesterday, they do have a reasonable expectation. Dignitas is a low DPL team, so I usually don't like to target against them if I can help it. But I think FlyQuest could be all right in this spot. And you're getting like a 16.3 expectation, which is reasonably high for NA. If you do believe in Dignitas, they have a reasonable expectation. They're going to be in like the mid-15s, which is fine. If you think they might be able to take it, you have a little bit more faith in Phoenix and Dardoch than me, then yeah, their expectation it makes them playable. Looking at the second matchup, Cloud9 at minus 400. They are 8-0 on the season, playing against TSM, who is plus 270, 6-2 on the season. Against winning teams, Cloud9 is 5-0, TSM is 2-2. So, I mean, in theory, if there's a team that can beat Cloud9, it's probably TSM, at least from what we've seen so far. Team Liquid, who we'll talk about in a minute, was the team initially coming into the season that I thought would have a chance to be able to best C9. But the playstyle they're using this season has not been impressive for me. And I think C9's probably just going to dumpster everybody. But if there's a team that could maybe beat them, it's TSM. I mean, they do have very smart late game veterans in Doublelift and Bjergsen who might be able to take advantage of some mistakes. The biggest problem for them, I think, is that Spica is just not a good enough jungler to contend with Blabber. So I'm going to go pretty heavily towards Cloud9 in this matchup as far as who I think is going to win in general. Looking at the stats, 2032 to 1801. So that 1801 is a very impressive number for the LCS. It's nothing close to what Cloud9 is doing, but that's kind of just Cloud9 in general. Gold differential per minute, plus 473 to plus 113. First blood, first turret. The TSM actually has better first turret and the same first blood. Dragon control percentage, 89. Oof. 55 for TSM. But that 89% is crazy. And the gold differential at 15, also crazy. Plus 3223. It's like very similar to the numbers that Damwon Gaming were showing in Korea to begin the season. But I mean, clearly, Cloud9 should be a favorite against anybody, and should be a big favorite against anybody. They've been absolutely crushing everybody they've played against. The biggest problem in this matchup, I think, for TSM, like I said, is the jungle. TSM can probably at least match them in the mid lane. TSM will be able to match them in the bottom lane. Probably TSM has a decent advantage in the bottom lane. The top lane, I think, is a fine matchup for TSM. Everything grades out just fine, other than the jungler, where C9 has, the MVP jungler versus a lower to mid-tier jungler on TSM. But that's a big deal when you're dealing with a team that has gold leads of 3,200 at 15 minutes. Like, your jungler is what needs to stop that from happening. So, yeah, I mean, you have to give the nod to Cloud9. Looking at potential scoring, I mean, it's off the charts. 18.1 to 20.5, that's like LPL numbers. So it's pretty tough not to target Cloud9 on this slate, which is one of the reasons that I don't think this is a great slate. The fact that these two teams also have like the long-term rivalry just makes it even more likely that they're going to kind of try to style on each other a little bit, I think, especially since Cloud9's not exactly... Like, if Cloud9 gets ahead, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they just try to style on TSM. So, this is basically the matchup that makes it so it's not an awesome slate for me. Just because Cloud9 is so clearly the play, and they always are. But, like, if Cloud9's playing against Dignitas, like a team with a really low death per loss that might just give up in the, 20 minutes into the game and just sit in the fountain, that's when I want to dodge Cloud9, and this seems like a matchup where that's not likely to happen. There's likely to be pretty heavy fighting and contesting. Bjergsen and Double F definitely think they can outplay Cloud9 for sure, so they're going to be in there trying to battle. But, I mean, Cloud9's a great play. If you believe in TSM, TSM's a fantastic play. We don't know what the death per loss for Cloud9 is since they haven't lost yet, but if this is even remotely true, they're 17.1 kill per win, then this is a great matchup to be targeting on either side. Moving over to Team Liquid, they're minus 265, 6-2 on the season. CLG is plus 190, 4-4 on the season. Against winning teams, Team Liquid is 2-2, CLG is 0-4. So CLG is a straight split Origin style team here. They've lost to all the good teams and beaten all the bad teams that they've played. Looking at the statistics, 1779 to 1714 in favor of Team Liquid, plus 108 to minus 79 also in favor of Team Liquid. First blood, first turret both go their way. Dragon percentage for Team Liquid at 41% is actually just crazy low for a team that's 6-2. That's something that's going to have to be fixed if this team wants to contend. But they're still actually better than CLG, 41 to 32. Gold differential at 15 minutes, plus 811 to minus 1684. So you can see the fraudulentness of CLG here in the fact that they are minus 1684 at 15 minutes, which is like the worst team in the LCK or LPL. But they're 4-4 on the season. They just they've had some impressive mid-game and late-game comebacks, but in general, you just can't have a number like this and be any sort of competitive. KPWs and DPLs, a very low expectation match from the Team Liquid side. 13.3, 16.5. You're looking at like a 14s expectation, high 14s. So not one that I'm super looking to target. Probably will be staying away from this one. Team Liquid is just playing a weird, very non-bloody style right now. Partially because I think Broxa has not been very good, where we really kind of need Broxa to be very good for this team to be exciting. But This doesn't seem like a great matchup to target. I don't really believe in CLG being able to win, and I don't think Team Liquid scores a lot of points when they win. So, going down to the last matchup of the day, Evil Geniuses minus 290, 5-3 on the season. Golden Guardians plus 200, 3-5 on the season. Against winning teams, Evil Geniuses is 2-3, Golden Guardians is 1-4. Comparing statistics, EG 1736 to 1724, so very similar gold per minutes. Gold differential per minute plus 44 to minus 58, so a stark contrast there. First blood and first turret, even 50-50s on both sides. EG is actually the worst dragon control team at 47 to 59, and the gold differential at 15 plus 43 for EG plus 702 for Golden Guardians. So Golden Guardians is getting out to bigger leads than EG. Evil Geniuses is bringing it back in the mid to late game, kind of like some of these other teams we've seen in the LCS. But Golden Guardians definitely makes one of my favorite underdogs today. Evil Geniuses doesn't mind giving it up in a loss. They haven't scored super well in wins. But the main reason that I think that Golden Guardians is a decent play today, the stats kind of point to them being a decent play. But also, I think it's kind of up to EG whether they win. A lot of the time, I think if they keep putting Jizuke on champions that can't carry games and can't make plays, then they're just going to lose a lot of those games. They seem to be willing to put him on those kinds of champions, so I think Golden Guardians is kind of a smash underdog play, to be honest with you. If the stats play out that way, I think Golden Guardians has the kind of players that can take advantage of some of this stuff. Svenskeren has been absolutely abysmal this season, and Closer is very, very good, even though he didn't necessarily get a chance to show that in some of the first games of the season here. But Closer is very, very good. Could definitely take advantage of his matchup against Svenskeren. I think this is just a very good matchup that's going to be fun and exciting to watch, but I lean Golden Guardians, and I think that that's kind of where I'm going to be planting my flag on this slate. The other team, as far as underdogs, the other team I probably will have some exposure to is TSM, but I don't think I'll have a ton of exposure there. I think Golden Guardians is kind of where I'm gonna center myself when it comes to this slate. Golden Guardians and EG, TSM against C9, CLG, Team Liquid, FlyQuest, and Dignitas. So as far as ownerships for the slate, I don't know that I think TSM is going to be last. Usually it's always just snap put Cloud9's opponent as the last team. My cat's on the desk. I don't think that TSM is going to be the lowest owned team. People have to be giving them some sort of chance. They're 6-2, second best team in the league. They are plus 270, which I think is realistic. No, please, no. Let me put her on the ground. Come on, burrito. Okay. Yeah, something tells me TSM's not going to be the lowest owned team. I think it still might be Dignitas. So let's put Dignitas down at the bottom. The highest owned team is going to be Cloud9, so we can always just make things easy by starting out with that. Other teams that make sense to be highly owned, FlyQuest should be pretty highly owned. People love huge favorites, so I would expect them to be pretty big. Evil Geniuses is a pretty big favorite and a generally bloody team, so I could see people being involved with them. I think this Team Liquid CLG match is probably generally going to have kind of low ownership. The odds on it are a little close. Probably TSM just has to be the second lowest owned team because they're playing against Cloud9 and people just don't want to play people that are playing against Cloud9 for the most part. Probably CLG. No, it won't be CLG. It'll be Golden Guardians. And then it'll be Team Liquid here and CLG right in the middle. Okay, so that'd be my expectation. This is the only time you're ever going to get TSM as the second lowest owned team on the slate, probably. So as far as trying to take advantage of that kind of leverage, this is a good spot for it. I think Golden Guardians and TSM both make a lot of sense. She's not happy that I took her off the desk. She's right back. Let's look at potential cash game lineups to begin with. So Evil Geniuses minus 290. C9 400. So in theory, you'd be looking for C9 and FlyQuest as far as trying to be safe. Let's see if I have enough, or have the correct players in the pool. Doesn't look like these two teams are playable together, so that might just be out the window. So the next one I would want to put you on is EG. I actually think Team Liquid is a better play than EG by like a fair bit. So FlyQuest and Team Liquid. Let's see, FlyTL would come out to 193.2, but that's just a generation expectation. I think really Team Liquid and Cloud9 is really where you're going to want to be. I was just looking at what kind of number you would get there. C9TL is 199.4, and that is with 4 Cloud9 members. So I mean that's just a smash hit. We are projecting Licorice to outscore Vulcan. Let's see, TSM matchup. Yeah, that makes sense to me. So yeah, this makes sense. I think this is probably where you want to be at. It's using all your money. It gets you 4 Cloud9 players in a really great matchup for Cloud9 as far as scoring goes. Yeah, that's just a smash hit. I don't have to look any further at that. Originally, if it was a 3-3, I was going to try to figure out a way to get 4 Cloud9, even if it meant playing support captain instead of top or something. But as far as I'm concerned, this is a smash hit cash lineup. I'll probably throw this in a bunch of double ups, even though I don't even play double ups that often because it's just a smash hit. Let's look at the favorites real quick and see where the scoring is expecting to come from. So in the top lane, it's got Kumo followed by Licorice. So Evil Geniuses, C9, FlyQuest, and Team Liquid is the lowest, which I was expecting. In the jungle, Team Liquid stays the lowest, Cloud9 stays on top. Oh, they weren't on top at the top position, but they come up top. Svenskeren and Santorin in the middle, so FlyQuest a little bit less than Evil Geniuses. In the mid lane, it is actually Jizuke at the very top of the list, Cloud9 second. Jensen moves up to third. Power of Evil with the lowest projection of the mid lane. Wow. Dignitas must just be really good. I mean, I guess this is probably... That Power of Evil projection might be a little bit off. I might actually hand change that one for the site, because I think it's just a little bit off, because Froggen is the absolute monster when it comes to just denying his opponent getting very far ahead. He's a very safe player. And they've had Froggen all year. Excuse me. Dignitas has had Froggen all year in the mid lane, denying points to mids, which our projections are definitely picking up on. So I might do a little bit of a hand edit on Power of Evil. He's actually probably going to end up being the highest projected, because these are all super close. 30.8 to 30.2 to 30.2 to 30.1. Insanely close. And I think I'm going to do a hand edit to get Power of Evil up to something like 31.5, because I think this is a little bit low, given that he's playing against Phoenix and not Froggen. At 80 carry, it is C9 at the top, then TL, Bang in third, and Mash from FlyQuest down in fourth. And at support, Evil Geniuses, C9. So it's basically telling you that Evil Geniuses and C9 are the go-to scorers as far as... Let's see, where did I put EG? Third? They might actually be higher than FlyQuest. It'll be close. Evil Geniuses are the higher projected team on here, along with Cloud9, which I think everyone obviously knows that Cloud9 is going to be pretty high expectation. That's pretty much all for this slate, guys. I'm going to go off and do that hand edit. I think there are some ways to gain a little bit of leverage on this slate, but I don't think it's an awesome one. I'll come back later today to do the LPL and LCK, and then of course there's MMA tonight, so I'm definitely going to be watching MMA, so wish me best luck there, and I'll talk to you guys all in the chat about that as well. So hit me up on Discord, on Twitter, or anything like that if you have any questions about the slate, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one.